This episode is presented by TimeTrack Go, the simply better employee time clock software that is going to make your life easier. The unique graphical employee time card helps you quickly identify and fix mistakes, cutting your editing time in half so you can go on with your day. TimeTrack Go will not only save you time and money each week, but our easy to understand user interface and the ability to turn an ordinary tablet into a time clock will get your team up and going in just minutes. Now your hours can go to your favorite payroll systems, including Gusto, ADP Workforce Now, Paychecks, and more. Find out what a simply better solution can do for your business. To learn more and sign up for your 14-day free trial, go to www.timetrackgo.com. That's TIMETRAK go.com or call 888-321-9922. Let's go.
Welcome back, folks. What's good, Walt?
What's good, man? I'm excited for today, man. It's another day. We have our everything we need in life, and we're making strides. And holiday season's here. Good times, good family moments, and stuff like that, man. And I'm excited because today's show is the first time we're doing something like this, so I'm excited to get into that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. How about you, bro?
Same here, man. It's for fall just began. And it's funny because I went outside the first day of autumn and in the morning and it wasn't hot. And because South Florida really just has 4 different versions of summer. It doesn't have seasons. You already know. I'm just telling the folks who don't. Me and Walt met in South Florida, so he already knows. But so yeah, no, whatever. But yeah, no, I'm excited about the episode. So we're gonna basically do a rewatch, not a rewatch, it's a re-listen. When we first started this show, we were audio only, and so a lot of good God, 40 something episodes that is just audio, and we figured, hey, let's redo some of them along the way and bring in like the video experience. And the first one we wanted to do is our origin stories, like how we got into payroll. But we listened and we're like, we nailed it the first time. It'd be a shame to try to redo it. So we're gonna listen to it, but we're gonna stop and play. And hope you guys hear, put the volumes up nicely or whatever, and it should play out just fine. And we're going to stop along the way and comment and whatnot, or just recap after we play if we don't need to stop. And we see how this goes. The first time we do something like this, and we wanted to bring the experience of our origin story episode through a video experience. And we love creating the clips, right? The clips are huge.
Right, yeah.
Huge content for us, right, on LinkedIn, and we get to share things, and it's a different visual. So folks are consuming the shows once we started the visual, right, the video, we find that some folks just consume our little video clips and they don't even realize we have a podcast, a whole other show, and that there's 5 seasons of episodes out there already. They just and it's cool. However you want to consume the show is cool with us. So we figured we'd bring it back, right? And yeah. So
it's 5+ seasons, man. I think we're currently in season 6, going on to season 7.
We need to start a 7. Yeah, we need to. Oh no, we're good in 6. Yeah, I think, right? We got to shoot. Feel like we may have 6 is real long, maybe now.
It is.
Oh, we got to start season 7. So boom, this is the cutoff. Yep, this is the cutover now, and this is like capping season 6. And now we can start we can start season 7 now, and you're right, right into the 4th quarter. Oh, maybe that's how we should do our seasons. Is that how we've been doing it? Quarters?
Maybe.
That might make sense for payroll, right? Everything's quarterly, every quarter a new season. That may make sense. See, folks, we're just like evolving right in front of your ears and eyes.
Yeah.
So let's get to it, man. I'm excited. So I'll tee it up. The first part is Walt's story because as I had
Yeah.
led up to it, then the same when we're leading in now, Walt has an amazing story, military through payroll trained and all that stuff. We're about to hear it right now. So Walt's story first, and then we'll go from there.
All right.
Hit it.
First part that we wanted to talk about is what you would put some thought into. Hey, how did I get into payroll? Did I fall into it by accident? Did I make this choice? In some ways, yeah, we all chose to do payroll. Once you get into payroll and you stay in payroll, it's by choice.
Yep.
So for my story, my origin story is I joined the military. I had to take the ASVAB when I went in. So I got a certain score, and there were certain jobs that I qualified for based on my score. And so out of all the jobs that I was able to select from, I chose dispersing clerk, which was payroll, in other words, in the military.
Interesting.
That's how I got into it. That was one of my choices, and yeah, I chose this.
Okay, go on.
So yeah, I made the decision. I went in, didn't learn any payroll things until after boot camp, and then after that, they sent us to what was called an A school. A as an apple.
Okay.
So it was an A school for payroll. So you go there for a few months and you learn about payroll. They teach you the ins and outs of processing payroll. That's why I first got my education on payroll. I didn't know anything about it coming out of high school or anything like that. I was an 18-year-old kid in the industry, and so I had to learn about payroll. But I've always been interested in numbers, not necessarily math, but numbers. I've always had an affinity for different numbers and stuff like that and everything. Yeah, man, that was my origin story. That's how I got in the game and why I stayed in the game, and I just ended up falling in love with payroll. What about you, man? What's your origin story?
Oh, come on, not so fast. So give me a little bit more. So now after, how long did you spend in the military doing payroll? And then how was your transition from the military payroll job and then like your first job as a civilian?
Okay, gotcha. Payroll in the military was a little bit different because your first duty was the mission overall. So no matter
the mission, I'm sorry, the mission being like the war, you guys tactical something.
Yeah.
Battle combat mission. Okay.
Right. Yeah, I joined in January of 2001. As we all know, regrettably 9/11 happened that year. So you were
in the military when that happened?
Yeah, I was in the military when that happened.
Oh, wow.
So I had to be on guard for that and actually be in danger zones and overseas and stuff like that. And while trying to do my job and make sure people got paid. So,
well, I'm sorry to cut you off. Please hold your thoughts.
A great story.
Yeah.
Okay, but I gotta ask these questions, right? For the listeners, right? Listen.
Yeah.
How was the schedule balance between being a soldier or a seaman, because you were on the Navy, you're a soldier, and what, just like hours wise, like how is that division of labor, that those hours managed, like being a soldier and being a payroll person?
Well, you're always a soldier, right?
So okay, first.
No matter what, you're always a soldier. Now,
okay.
if you have a designated job, even though the cooks were in the kitchen cooking for everyone, they were still soldiers in the military. They were still seamen. That was just their designated job that they chose to go into. You had your role and dinner. So for them, they had their set time when breakfast was done, lunch and dinner was prepared, just like we did. Our hours were from 7 to 4. Something like that. We had our own little space, our own little pair.
I think it was so impactful. I just wanted to point it out because it was like, shout out to the servicemen. Thank you for your service. And it was so, when I played it back, it was so impactful when you was like, so we're soldiers first.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, wow. It hit me the second time, like it hit me the first time. And I was just like, oh, man. And I just wanted to call that out and thank you for your service, man. And for everybody that has to juggle that, y'all serving each other, but then when shit pops off, you got to serve the country first. You got to remember it's a right. And I just thank you all for that, man.
Appreciate that. Appreciate you saying that. And It took some time for me to realize that when I was an 18-year-old kid. I was on my own, grew up sheltered. So when I got out on my own, I was like, oh, I'm living life. And the rules in the military are different than the civilian world. You just can't be all willy-nilly and do what you want and this and that. You have to, there's order in place. So my first year and a half, it took some adjusting for me to get used to that in the military. It was like, oh, why do I have to do this? Why do I have to do that? You're in the military, Duncan. They used to call you by your last name.
Rules. And it's the rules.
Yeah, you're in the military, Duncan. Mission first.
Mission first.
Mission first. I remember this is just going on different stories, man. I remember having to stand watch. I was on a destroyer ship, which is a smaller vessel, right? And they usually battle and combat like the submarines and stuff like that, right? So that's what the destroyer is, right? And so I had my payroll job, but I also had to stand watch and make sure that guard the ship, guard the vessel. And when we were out and when we were deployed, I remember it was like a scene of a movie. And like the waves were crashing, the stern of the ship was going under the water, and I'm up crazy there next to the bridge, and the waves were coming up there. Like it was crazy like that. It was crazy, but it was a great experience, man. Like you had to make sure that the health of your ship and the help of your shipmates was the first thing you had to worry about.
Wow. Something that I feel like I missed was we talked about the payroll transition back, right? How you transitioned, and that's what I had pulled you on here. Well, wait a minute. How did you transition back to civilian payroll from this payroll? But I think more importantly, as we've grown as a show and we've discovered that it's about people. How was your mental transition back to civilian life because I often hear that as a struggle for military folk?
For me, I didn't realize it, but I had experienced certain things in the military, being in the war zone and being overseas and stuff like that. I shared this story with you. I was almost captured while being out in wrong place, wrong time, and guys having AK-47s pointed at me and being there by myself. And I was fortunate and lucky that they let me go. That really did a number on me. And I didn't realize that because I was still young. I didn't know about self-care and mental health and all that other stuff. So tried to come back into the corporate setting from the military. And I had really bad social anxiety. And I didn't know it. Like why I didn't know why I was feeling that way. I didn't know about any of that stuff. So that was a transition for me to get back and be like, okay, and not feel like I had to look over my shoulder, look at the corner of my eye to see if anybody was gonna get me.
Run up on you.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. That was an adjustment period for me.
Dang.
And
thanks for sharing that, man.
Building that trust
a lot.
Yeah, building that trust and stuff and everything, and getting past that took some years and some therapy and stuff. So that was a big transition. Yeah.
Damn. All right, go ahead. Play.
We had our own little space, our own little payroll office.
But
Go ahead.
But if something jumped off at 11 o'clock in the morning, that's it. We put pencils down and go be a soldier.
Yeah, you go be a soldier. So they will run drills. Something that we will run constantly is called general quarters. So those would be the drills that we go to. And so they would hit that, and then you have to go to your station, whatever you're assigned to do. If you were designated to fight a fire, if there was a fire on board the ship or something like that, you had to go to your designated station and go there. If there was an attack, same thing. They would say general quarters.
Wow.
All hands on deck. Yes.
Wow. So this explains a lot, bro. And it says a lot about why your claim to fame is processing. We talk about that for each other, like both of our claims to fame is processing.
Yeah.
And now I get why It is because like you had to balance.
Yes.
It's for all intent and purpose war at some point,
Mhm.
and just getting timesheets done and pay and adjustments made and things like that. And that's amazing, man. Amazing. Thank you for your service, bro. I don't know if I tell you that
Yes, sir.
enough as a
You
friend.
do. You do.
Okay. Yeah, thank you for your service,
do.
bro.
So I want to say something here about the processing, how you said my claim to fame is processing.
Hmm.
We had to be on point, just like now in
Yeah.
the regular setting, corporate, civilian world. Like you have to make sure that you get the data. But the system that we used back then was almost, I would say, it was like a MS DOS type of thing for payroll. Seriously,
I
like,
believe you. Yeah.
and you had to key everything in, like it had to be on point because literally you were basically programming the system to pay that, almost like entering code when you're building
Yeah.
something. And so I've seen it where someone forgot to put a decimal point on someone's re-enlistment bonus. So instead of getting $10,000 or whatever, $100,000, they got $1 million. So I remember one guy in the
My
military,
God.
he got a re-enlistment bonus and they paid him $1 million. And they couldn't,
No.
and yes, and they weren't able to pull the funds back. So they had
Oh,
to set him up on a payment plan where he took his check, all his check
no.
every week. Yes.
For
Yeah.
years, they've front
For
loaded his
years.
payment.
For years. So he was like, "Yeah, I'm in this until
Hey,
the
now
wheels
I
fall
guess I
off."
got it.
You
Yeah,
know?
for real.
Yeah.
Now I'm a lifer now, for real. You
Like,
got some of
yeah.
my retirement too.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So like
That's
they paid him off.
crazy.
Mhm. And so just wanted to share that and like to say,
That's a
hey,
good one,
yes,
no
we
doubt.
we had to make sure, just like in the civilian world, we had to make sure that everything we put in was perfect in there. So and you had to make sure that everything was good. There was a different way to put in deductions. There was a different way to put in
Wow.
earnings and stuff like that. The good thing is that there were no timesheets. Everyone had a set salary based on your rank and your tenure.
Yep.
There was a sheet, and it would say if you've been in 4 years and you're an E4, this is your pay. If you're an E1 and you've been in a year or less, this is your pay.
But
You
what
know
if there were things that got them more pay, even at that rank? Because don't you, if you get married and have a child, doesn't that boost your pay a bit? Like, how would you know that?
Yes. Well, so they would get dependents added, and so there was two different groups, right? So
Mm,
we were the dispersing clerks, and then there was another portion that was like HR. So
okay.
we did the pay, and
Uh-huh.
HR did the other changes and stuff like that. So they would enter that change in, and then that would boost their pay. So
Wow.
yeah, that would boost their pay.
Wow.
So they would add a dependent and in the system, or and do it and enter their zip code. So
Right.
you got paid your cost of living based on where your
Where
home
you
of record was.
Oh, wow.
So yes, so think about that.
Interesting.
So if I'm from California, even though I'm stationed somewhere in the same place, say I'm from California and say you're
Mhm.
from North Carolina.
Yep.
Right. And
Perfect.
your cost of living that you get for your dependents would be lower
Less. Yeah.
because of where my dependents are at in California.
Yep.
So I would get the cost of living based on my zip code based on that.
Got it.
But if we had family that was in the same space, or we were in Norfolk, Virginia,
Mm-hmm.
if we were all there, then we would get the cost of living based on that place. It depends
Got
on
it.
where our families were.
Got it.
So yeah,
Very cool.
thank you, sir.
Do all the time. I appreciate that. But there were no timesheets. So
Understood.
it was just
There were
basically
no timesheets. Everything
No.
like salary
everybody was salary. You have a
with no
designated.
adjustments.
There were some adjustments if you got out, if you were discharged, whether it's honorable, dishonorable, when you got out of the military or you were kicked out for whatever reason.
Okay.
Right. Then you could probably have, based on that date, you can have some fluctuation or differences in your pay. But other than that, you got paid whatever your rate was. So E1 had a certain salary, the enlisted folks, and then the officers and the chiefs had
Okay.
the set salaried.
And so not a lot of bonuses going on, nothing like that.
There were sign-on bonuses for certain rates. If you
Right.
were like on a sub, or you worked
Yes.
in
One of my
engineering or
boys
something
went
like
on the
that,
sub. Yep.
If you worked in engineering, they give you like more bonuses than anything. Like payroll, HR people, they really didn't have those bonuses or those bonus payments that you might have gotten like a reenlistment bonus.
Okay.
Based on your tenure or your years of service, but other than that,
very interesting, man. That's amazing, bro. So now take us from there. Now, how did you transition into civilian? Was your first job as a civilian in payroll, or did you have to?
Yes, it was in payroll. So as soon as I got out after my 4 years, the whole war thing, okay, I'm done. I'm out. So I got out in 2005, was still in the reserves for a few years, several years after that.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But yeah, I jumped into the temp agencies, looking for jobs and stuff like that. And so my first permanent position was with a PEO.
Okay.
I'm not going to say their name. But I was hired by them and brought on and just thrown into the fire. Like I didn't really I didn't really get too much training. They basically said, "Hey, this is how you do this. Boom, boom. There you go. Off to the races."
Off to the races.
Sink
or swim.
Yeah, that was initially my first experience coming from transitioning from active duty military to civilian life. It was different. It was different because you could really speak back in the civilian world versus the military. You really can't talk back.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever. Different culture. Yeah, it was a totally different culture. It was new for me. It took some adjustment period for me to get used to be able to say, hey, I have a voice. I can express myself and be able to say that stuff and whatever. There was an adjustment period for me.
I love this. Because I'm learning a lot. I like a lot more things are making sense. We talk all the time, but I'm still learning things through the conversation. So I appreciate it. And I hope the listeners appreciate it. It's an awesome story. That's cool.
Sure, bro.
Yeah, that's a good. I like that. I like that version a lot better because I think we gloss over it real quick. We didn't dig deep. After high school, I did not go straight into college.
Jumped right into mine.
Or my family business for about a year. And I thought making money was more attractive at the time, and all the older folks were telling me go to college. But I was like, no, I'm about to make this money right now, so this seems better. So I did that, and luckily enough, like it was a double-edged sword where, I did make good money at the time for my age, but it was in a back-breaking business. It was a labor intensive.
Gotcha.
So after a while, I was like, I'm not going to be able to do this forever, man. My relationship was suffering because I spent 6 days a week working and long days. By Sunday, I was wiped out. I didn't want to do nothing. I finally got to a point where it was like, no, this is for the birds. Like, I can't do this. It's not sustainable, right? Yeah. Sustainability became a very big theme in my life. And I think
I want to pause it there.
Yeah.
You said a key word, sustainability.
Yep.
Do you feel like now in your current life that you've reached a level of sustainability that is what your ideal situation is, or do you think you're still chasing that?
I'm still chasing it.
Still chasing it?
Yeah, okay. For sure. Yeah, I think sustainability can mean different things for different people, right? The sustainability is a buzzword for the green movement, right? Going green and being our brand manager, Brian from Bigger Creative. His whole movement is about sustainable graphic design now, right? Sustainable art and sustainable deliver of his product to his. So it means different things to different people. Sustainability for me is a part of it is survival, and right, and it's something I tell my oldest daughter all the time. I just want you to be able to sustain yourself. Like beyond that, sometimes maybe I feel like even talking to her one time, I maybe feel like I shot too low as far as the goal for things. It's the bare. If you can take care of yourself, you could do anything from there. If you've built a sustainable life that is like, all right, boom, I have my own, I'm on my own, I can feed myself, I can house myself, I can I'm sustainable, self-sustaining, right? Then sky's the limit. You could do anything you want from there.
Yeah.
So I think sustainability became a lot of it was survival in the beginning. And for me, it means efficiency as well, being efficient. So I think it's something that I will always strive for. Yeah. I'll always be
Nice.
chasing, I think. Yeah. Thanks, man.
Thank you
That's a
for
good
that.
one. Yeah.
Thank you.
Sustainability became a very big theme in my life, and I think it started then, and it still is a very big theme. Sustainable practices, that's how we last in payroll. That's how we build good departments and good processes, is sustainable practice. So anyway, it wasn't sustainable, and I said, all right, I told one of my best friends, I said, I either gotta go to college or I'm about to go to the military. I was gonna join the Navy too, because my godfather is a retired career Navy person, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna go to the Navy.
That'd have been funny. We would have met in the Navy.
You're crazy, man.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
Buddied up. So fine, fast forward, a few years later, I don't know, 4 or 5 years later, I had my degree. And during that time, I still worked for the family business, and I was able to get in the office now.
This might be a joke because you just said family business, and it's nothing to do with Pablo Escobar. Your last name's Escobar, right?
Yeah, no.
Okay.
No.
So what was the family business?
Contracting. My brother had a Sears contract back in the day, and we just installed appliances, air conditioning, everything in the kitchen, and every household appliance, basically.
Gotcha.
Yep. Yeah, for a long time. That was that backbreaking stuff
Some
that I was
office
like,
work
I can't
because
do
my
this.
schedule didn't allow me to be on the road anymore in the labor part of it. So I was able to get some office work. So by the time I graduated from college, I had my degree in business management, and I had this experience from the family business that happened to be writing 1099 checks.
Oh, wow.
I had payroll experience, right?
Gotcha.
But it was at its most fundamental level. I'm just taking invoice rates from contractors, and I times it by that, and okay, boom, I write a check. There's no taxes, it's 1099. Just keep good records, and boom, and this was done.
Yeah.
So graduated from school, I had this management degree I had no idea what to do with. And
Gotcha.
I'm like, wait a minute, where do I apply now? What the heck do I do with this? It's not a big problem, guys. You got to really just start thinking. You have to start thinking and being creative and understand like where you fit in and where jobs you can apply to and where you're going to leverage your degree. So I understood that I was entry level. Even as a college graduate, I didn't have any office experience. I'm trying to go into the corporate world. I wanted to work in Manhattan.
Okay.
Right, and that was it. That was the big city of dreams. Like that's where I was gonna make it. Right.
Yep.
I knew that I matched at entry level. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
And I kept looking for things, and the company out of Manhattan gave me an interview because I had payroll on my resume. I talked well on the phone interview, and I got a shot at in person. They called me back. They gave me the shot. It was an entry level job in payroll.
Nice.
And that was it, man. I got into corporate, and they gave me the shot, and boom, I was off to the races in payroll. And I kept leveraging my experience and things to keep growing, man. Because unfortunately, you have to move around sometimes if you want to grow. And as we talk about origins, we could talk about a few different things with the roles that we will get. Is payroll professionals, like our origin stories are often like getting a shot at doing it.
Just getting that shot, yeah.
And yours is very different because you actually picked it. You were like, yeah, I want to go there. But a lot
I
of
want
us
to talk
just
about
fall
that
into it.
right there, right? Because a lot of the people that we have had on, they say that they just fell into it.
Yeah.
Like Christine had Valor, she went to school for something else and wanted to do something else, and did payroll. Lindsay, Adrian, like different people. Ian, like they did other things and had
Anita Latink
or focus on something else. Yeah, Anita Latink had a focus on something else on their education, and then it just fell in the payroll. There was like, you know what? Yeah, somebody transition out, and they asked me to slide in and do payroll, and I've been doing it ever since. So that's interesting. It's interesting.
Many stories I hear, oh, I used to sit next to the person who did payroll. They went on maternity, they never came back, and my boss just gave me a shot to do it. Something like that. And there are stories of that type of, we just stumbled into it, and because there's no aim, right? There's no degrees, there's no path to a success that's known. We're going to teach you guys the path of success, let me tell you.
Yeah.
But there's nothing out there now that you can just say, hey, I want to be a payroll professional. What does that roadmap look like?
Yeah, this is not something that's pretty much advertised out there like that. Like, hey, you're gonna do payroll. Come this way.
But look, it's a legit career, and it's been getting more and more notice, and people are fighting more for this. A lot of payroll groups on LinkedIn that are doing a lot to build awareness, and I believe they're getting payroll as its own type of industry, because it is very frustrating when you go onto these sites and they say, what industry do you work in or whatever, and you feel like you're in payroll is itself its own kind of thing and bucket. So you see human resources there and finances there, and you're like, wait a minute, payroll should be a subset, at least at the very minimum, of something, or both, because we're in either human resources or payroll.
Yeah.
And that's how the origin, again, looping back to our origin story, that's how you usually get in, is at this level, and you grow from there, whether you like it
I
or
find
not.
it interesting because I know that when we recorded, this is one of the first 10 episodes that we recorded.
Yeah.
Right. And I think even back then, some of the key things that you were saying is payroll is an industry.
Yep.
Like, and those weren't conversations that we had with other people yet. We hadn't had any guests.
That's true.
Hadn't had conversations with Christina and Gerard and all those people saying that payroll is an industry. And so I find it interesting that one of the first few episodes that we've done, you mentioned that in there. Hey, payroll should be a subset. When you go to these companies and you go to these job boards and you say, hey, I'm in the payroll industry, and you're not able to select it. It says finance and whatever, or
HR. That's
whatever.
it. Finance, HR, operations. And payroll could be under any one of those or stand alone. Still true. No, and that's something real quick before you start back. That's something that I heard as well. The evergreen of this episode, right? And we said that out the gate, like our stuff is evergreen. And if you don't know what evergreen means, I think, and we can look it up real quick, but for media, I believe it means like when the content is good forever.
Yeah.
What we're teaching, what we're talking about is good for a long time. There might be a IRS rule here and there. We might mention the IRS limit this year is 22 or 23, blah, 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 for 401, for this, a lot of that might change, sure. But the fact that there is a limit that you got to be aware of will never change, right?
Yes.
That's the evergreen piece of it in the payroll world, right? So that's the beauty of it. And I heard that all throughout. And you're right. We were talking about, we spoke it into existence. We absolutely attracted the people that were in the movement. Christina at Valor is still very much our kindred spirit out there in the business world. We're both teaching payroll, and we do it in very different ways, and it's both valuable.
Yes.
And we didn't know that then. I think Christina saw it before we did. She was like, hey, we're on the same journey. And I'm like, what is she talking about? She's doing pay. She has a payroll, actually a literal payroll provider. So, and we're doing a podcast. So it didn't click right away. But now that I consumed her content for such a long time, I'm like, oh crap, we are on similar journeys. So shout out to Valor Payroll. Shout out to Gerard. Shout out to everybody, Fran, for all the friends of the shows and everybody that's been on. Man, we love you. Everybody that we don't know, that we listen, we see you guys. We see you listening and consuming. We love you. Thank you so much. We the best is yet to come, folks. So keep listening, listening. Yeah. So let's finish this one up.
You said you fell in love with, and I don't know if I fell in love with it, and I didn't. I fought it, I believe, for a while. I did it well, but I just had so much ambition, and it took me a long time to realize folks either very passionate about something or they're really good at something, and that's what they leverage to build their own businesses and have that financial freedom. and it just took me a while to get there. So we're
Yeah.
leveraging our talent, and it's absolutely a good career path. And this journey, hopefully we show you guys that in this journey of a payroll professional. And again, we're going to have some episodes that we're conversational about where those stages are, right? And some other episodes that'll be more tactical. Payroll 101, for instance. There's some things as a new payroll professional. These
You
are the
wanna
things that
pause
you
it
have
real
to start
quick?
learning
Yeah.
so that you can build on. Like that's what
Yeah.
then you become full scope
That
payroll.
that didn't age well because we don't do, not that we won't do tactical stuff, but that has, what we learned is that the more intricate and like really getting in the details about how to do payroll stuff is going to be a learning course that we'll put out. And then
Mhm.
like you got to want to choose to learn that. You don't want to be
Mhm.
force fed. Like you don't want to jump on a podcast and somebody is like breaking down a calculation of net to gross and very detailed. Although that's
Yeah.
what payroll 101, and we attempted it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we learned through that experience that is, let's leave that for an actual training course,
Yeah.
which we will start producing very soon for you folks and for whoever wants to
Yeah.
learn payroll, basically. Yeah.
Great call out
that's
there.
yeah.
Great call out.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think that was our goal, is that we wanted to really come from it, teach other people to bring attention to payroll as an industry, and to bring in new talent, and to relight a fire again under those people who are in the industry and maybe feel like their career has grown a little stale or something like that, and just kind of like light a fire again for them. But great point, great call out on that, is that it's a lot more, there's a lot more meticulous thought that needs to be put into those more tactical things, because it has to be on point. You have to be on point with what you're teaching, and interpretation is everything. You have to leave out any wiggle room for interpretation, for a mixed interpretation, because if we say something the wrong way, as you're a stickler for words, right? You're very literal. So if I say something and I use the wrong word as a part of my sentence, it can change the whole meaning of what we said.
And if you don't mind, I'll give them a quick example. I stopped one of the shows we were talking. So we have another show. We started just another show. It's about your paycheck. So go check that out. It's aboutyourpaycheck.com. You'll also see it on our subscription on it's about payroll.io.
Check it out.
Check it out. Check it out. But we were doing a show and we were talking about, I forget, I think it was the net or taxes or something like that. And Walt said something, I know what he meant, but he didn't say the right word. And we literally debated, and that wasn't an argument, but we had to talk it out for like a half hour before we could continue the show. And then eventually he's, oh, I know what I'm saying wrong. And then he realized what it was that he was saying. And it was like, okay, I get it. And then because I knew what he was saying, but I had to stop him because it wasn't, I was worried about the listener, the new payroll person, or no, actually it was paycheck. So I'm worried about the listener saying, what, that happened? No, I didn't want them to, because again, so yes, we all of that stuff, and doing a course will give us the comfort to just sit back and talk it out and go through things step by step. And even those payroll 101s, we tried it a few times together, and then we realized, we can't even do this together. This is too much, because we want to go off on tangents too much. You know what I mean? So, and Evergreen, folks, for Evergreen in business and in marketing and all that, is content that is always relevant and valuable to readers or viewers over time. It's not seasonal and doesn't revolve around trends. Evergreen is content, is search optimized content that is not tied to current events or any moment in time. It's just learning stuff. Like most of our episodes are mostly evergreen because we're talking about payroll stuff that will be relevant forever. even with AI, because then instead of doing it with your keys, you're going to be talking about it and telling the AI what to do and what to reproduce for you. So you still have to understand what you're doing. So yeah, sorry, sidebar, folks.
No,
right,
that was a great call out, man.
Let's finish up. Should be almost done now.
So let me ask you a question. Well, where in your career do you feel like where it just started clicking together, all the pieces started falling into place, and you really got it, or was it that way out the gate?
So for me, it was in two parts for me. So payroll in the military came easy because of how it was taught. It was very detailed, all the different tests and stuff like that we had to do. It was literally 3 or 4 months that we just got this training hammered into us.
Right.
We didn't do anything else. We just got the knowledge. So when it came time to actually sit down and do the work, I was already equipped with the knowledge to do it. So it was different coming out from the military to the corporate world because everything was structured a little bit different, right? In a corporate setting, civilian setting, it was more so I had to catch on and catch up in the way they did it. Luckily, I'm a fast learner. So the first PEO that I worked for, within a week, I was out there kicking butt, or whatever.
Nice.
Like, you know what I'm saying? I definitely had to ask my questions and stuff like that, but I was processing and really kicking butt. But it was a little bit different because we had to process our payrolls and stuff our checks.
Ooh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? So like you're doing this for about 1,200 to 1,500 pays. So you like that can be up to 30, 40 clients per person. So it was an adjustment to get to. But I would say in my first 6 months, like I just kicked butt, and they put me in the office and said, hey, you're doing great. Oh my God, you're just taking off. And I got a raise and everything with my first 6 months of being in that company.
So is that where you like, okay, I like this, is cool?
Yeah, so that gave me more confirmation that, okay, I'm in the right industry. I'm good at this. I'm capable. And I enjoy it. Part of the reason I also enjoy it is because you get to interact with people. I like to serve and to be of service to people.
Yeah.
So like that kind of fills that role for me. I like to be able to help people and just feel like I'm doing something that really matters. And so that's the thought process that I had with it. Yeah. What about you, man? When did it click for you?
Honestly,
yeah,
our first roles together. Yeah, man. I found my way through the chaos.
Okay.
So the fact that I really had to apply everything I knew, I had to research and learn more, and really, that is what made that it was going to make or break me, that situation, and it made me, man. I've been a different place since then. That's where the whole approach this as a consultant was born. Approach every job you have like you're a consultant. Well, I'll rephrase. If you're having a tough time, it was chaotic. It was a lot of things to battle. And so I learned, and that's where you stretch. Like I was stretched out, and that is where I realized I'm good at this. I'm real good at this. I can roll with the best of them. And from there on, it didn't stop. I just continued to grow and really start performing at a higher level. So that's what carried me through for a while. I love where my career path and the experience that I've had. And I'm one of those folks that believe that you're the sum total of your experience.
Gotcha.
So I think it's had everything to do with who I am today, and I don't regret any of it. I learned when you lose, don't lose the lesson.
Great, man. That's great. When you learn, don't lose a lesson, man.
Perfect stopping point. Yeah.
Perfect, man. All right. What's next, man? What's next, Brian? Is there anything that you want to add to our origin story? Maybe something that like brought up a different idea or thought?
Yeah.
If you could go back and change anything in your career, would you?
I guess if I could change anything, it would be appreciated earlier on. See something great in it earlier on. That would probably, be more positive about it. Really get, if I had gotten passionate about it then the way I am now, it would have been something very different. So that's probably what I've been a little bit more. What about you?
I can identify with that. I can identify with what you're saying, because I think back then I saw it only as a job.
Yep.
Something I needed to do in order to get myself paid and fed.
Yep. Exactly.
To maintain a life. That's what I saw it as. And then I realized, hey, to your point, I'm actually good at this. I can empower myself by using these skills using these skills, and really just lock in and just drive this conversation and build out a life that I want and shape and mold my career in the way that I want it. We've all faced challenges, whether that's a chaotic workplace, a chaotic boss, chaotic different situations, right?
Yep.
A lot of us have experienced that from a payroll standpoint. It's not uncommon, right? And just realizing, like you said, man, I need to take control of my career. That would be the only thing, right? The experiences that I had made me who I am today to that point. And I wouldn't change that because it taught me what not to do.
Yep.
I can't be that type of boss that does this to my employees. I can't be this type of employee that does that to my boss.
Yes. Amen.
Right?
I like that. Love that.
You know what I'm saying? I have to be better. So I think that would probably be the only thing, is really just like you said, taking it more serious, especially in my early days of doing payroll and stuff like that. There's mindset. Like really saying like having a different mindset.
Yep.
Because I couldn't take earlier in my career, I couldn't take the constructive criticism.
No,
I couldn't take the stuff. Hey, Walt, being called out on my stuff. I couldn't take that because I still, what are you trying to say?
I used to get mad at people tell me reports are this report is wrong. No, it ain't wrong. Why? I wrote this shit myself. Well, I'm gonna bust your ass. Like what? No, because it has nothing to do with that. It's just the parameter.
It's not an indictment on our character.
Yes.
Not saying, oh, you're messed up or you don't know what you're doing.
Wrong. You suck. No, because it doesn't mean that. Yeah, exactly.
We still make mistakes now.
Heck yeah.
We're human, right?
Heck yeah.
We're human, right? And I think I would have definitely given myself some more grace, but also taken it a lot more seriously earlier in my career and really have a different mindset about it. Yeah. So I think that's a good call out, man.
Yeah.
So what's next, man? Or you want to talk on that a little bit more?
No, I think it's just to leave that for anybody listening new in the game or wherever you are in this point in your career. Disposition, your mindset is everything. Yeah. It's one of the something I love as well is life is 90%. What is it? 90%. No. What is it? Damn it.
I'm looking for it right now.
10% action, 90% reaction.
Yes. So it says life is 10% what happens to you.
Yep.
And 90% how you react to it.
How you react to it. That mindset, disposition. That's something I would have changed back in the day. That has probably been my demon for a long time, is just mental. So what's next, man? Gosh, everything is next, man. We want to keep delivering great payroll content, great information regarding your paycheck, around payroll, around paid. We want to share what we've amassed over 40 years of payroll experience. We want to share that, and we're so excited about that. And you can see it in our work, and we've been doing this for over a year now, and the fruit is there, is bearing fruit. And then what I mean by that is folks is, keep doing this, man. This is great.
Yeah.
We love what you're doing for payroll. We love what you're doing for payroll. Now we just started the paycheck journey, and folks are already, it's such an infantile stage, but people are excited about it. Everybody, oh my God, that's going to be great. So we're excited about that as well. Yep. That's what's next, man. What about you?
Man, I totally agree. I couldn't have said it better. Very well said. I think I'm excited for everything that's coming down the pipeline for us with the apps, the innovation that we're doing, this content that we're making. It's about your paycheck. I really just really focusing on the health and wealth, financial health and wealth for fellow Americans, for fellow people in the world.
Yep.
And it's just helping them understand how their pay works. I'm really excited for that. And yeah, man. And I'm excited to continue our story. Our stories have ended. We're still in our story.
We're still in
right?
it. Yep.
Yeah. So this is just part of the story, and I'm excited I'm excited for what's to come. And I'm excited for the challenges to come. I'm
Yeah.
excited. I'm excited to work with you on getting those solutions out
Yeah.
there for people.
Yeah.
That's what it's about, right? It's about
Yeah.
creating solutions. It's about creating awareness, and it's about empowering payroll professionals and employees out there.
Yeah.
So I'm
Absolutely.
excited to empower people, man. That's
Yeah.
really what it is. I'm excited, man.
Amen. Amen. I can't end it any better than that, bro.
Yeah.
So thanks everybody. We love you. See you next time. Peace.
Thank you for tuning in to It's About Payroll. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and most importantly, keep going.